And right now, we are 2 minutes away from the end of the trading day. Romaine Bostick alongside Scarlet Fu. We're counting you down to the closing bell, and here to help take us beyond the bell. It's a global simulcast. We're joined right now by Tim Stenovec, Emily Grafeo in today for vacationing. Carol Massar. Welcome to our audiences across all of our Bloomberg platforms, television, radio, and our partnership with YouTube, Tim. Stocks still kind of a mixed bag as they have been since hitting those record highs just about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the S&P 500 kind of searching for direction today. We did see some kind of clear moves early in the session, but it moved between gains and losses about a dozen times so far today, Emily Grafeo. So up about 0.1% right now, but no clear movement.
Yeah, and Tim, we were just talking about earlier how stocks didn't really move that much on that jobs report or the JOLTS report, but the bond market really seemed to like it, but stocks really shrugging it off, Scarlett.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting that bad economic news was seen as bad news for the stock market. And this is definitely a change from, say, 2 weeks ago when the S&P 500 is at its record high and everyone was saying, oh, the bad news is great. It means the Fed's going to move soon.
Yeah, absolutely here. And it gets to the question is, when do we get that clarity? We were speaking with Ryan Williams, the founder of Cadre, about commercial real estate. And he really talked about this idea, at least from a real estate perspective. That's really what the investors there are looking for, is for the Fed to finally provide some clarity. And maybe that's also what investors in other asset classes are looking for as well.
Do you think we'll see that clarity next Wednesday?
No, not at all.
No? You don't?
No.
The countdown is on.
No, and here's the thing. It's not the Fed's fault, because the Fed, I think Jay Powell will be as clear as he can be, but the market will, of course, interpret it in some janky way, and then we'll just sort of rinse and repeat for the next few months.
Is that a technical term?
I'm trademarked.
Okay.
We get the closing bells here in New York. This is where people clap and cheer for a job well done. A mixed bag, though, in the markets here on the day. You do have some green across the screen, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average going to finish the day higher by roughly 140 points, or about 0.4%. The S&P 500 up about 8 points, or 0.1%. The NASDAQ composite is higher by 28 points, or 0.2%. But here are your decliners on the day. You can find that in the cyclical and small cap space. Dow Transport's down 0.9%. S&P 400 mid caps down 1.3%, and the Russell 2000 guys down 1.3% on the day.
Yeah, that Russell 2000 really taking it on the chin today. Much bigger movement than we saw in the S&P, the NASDAQ, and the Dow. Speaking of the S&P, kind of an even split between gainers and decliners in the S&P 500, Scarlett. 230 did move higher, 273 stocks moved lower.
And that's pretty much reflected in the sector performances as well. Let's take a look at the IMAP, which shows you how the different sectors performed. And the reason why there's so much more green on that screen is because tech finished up 0.4% for the third best performance. Real estate investment trusts and staples were the best performers. And
yeah, give us some love, Scarlett.
Right. Well, as
it's
you
sexy.
mentioned, Romaine, REITs were the best performers over the past 5 days as well. Your weaknesses, your weak spots are materials, energy, and financials, with materials down about 1.2%.
Okay, I got the gainers today because Carol's out, so I get to do the stocks that moved higher.
Wow.
I do want to start with Tellurian.
Do you sit in her chair, too, when she's gone?
No. Emily gets that today. Tellurian shares finishing the day higher by 17%. This after Bloomberg reported earlier that the company is in discussion with Saudi Aramco and Woodside Energy Group to invest in its liquefied natural gas export project in Louisiana. Tellurian has reviewed various equity investment offerings from the energy companies related to its plant, said the people who asked not to be named, as they are not authorized to speak to the media. Shares higher today by 17.1%. And shares of cruise operators surged today. I want to pick one out specifically. Carnival Corporation shares moved higher today by more than 5%. We did get some news late yesterday that the company is going to sunset P&O Cruises Australia and fold Australia operations into its Carnival Cruise Line operations. So Melius Research came out with a note today that said that Carnival's decision to consolidate its P&O Cruises Australia brand is, quote, hugely symbolic of the change underway. From CEO Josh Weinstein. Cunningham over at Melius Research also says that this could be the catalyst to start a rally. You also had Peel Hunt upgrade its recommendation to buy, noting that the company will appeal to more investors as it accelerates its debt for equity swap. And then a little M&A news coming at you for my final gainer today. Core Scientific, ticker CORZ, just surging today, finishing higher by more than 40%. This after the company, I should say Bloomberg, reported that CoreWeave has offered to acquire Core Scientific, the Bitcoin mining company, for about $1 billion, just according to a person with knowledge of the matter. CoreWeave's all-cash bid of $5.75 was made on Monday and comes as the company seeks to expand its AI data center capacity. This according to
CoreWeave and Core Scientific. What's the name going to be when they combine?
The cores. Oh. Yeah, they got to go.
Double core.
Yeah, that one I had to read very closely to make sure I got the cores correctly.
Yeah, and I'm still not sure you did, but we'll go with it.
All right.
Wasn't there a band called the Cores?
Potentially buying Core.
All right, let's take a look at the decliners in for Carol today. I'm looking at Freeport-McMoRan. That was down as much as 6%, falling alongside the broader materials and energy stocks amid a drop in global commodity prices today. We saw copper falling below 10,000 as inventories are rising. Earlier, Bloomberg had reported that stockpiles on the Shanghai Futures Exchange climbed to the highest level since 2020. But of course, we also saw copper top a record high just a few weeks ago at around 11,000. So 10,000 here, not too bad for copper, but dragging down Freeport-McMoRan today, a mining company. I'm also looking at two retailers. DBI, this is the owner of designer brands, Designer Shoe Warehouse. Romaine, I know you love that store.
I went in there once, and it scared me.
Yeah, there's a lot of shoes in there.
A lot. And they're just like spread out on the floor. What's that about?
They're all over the place. You have to hunt.
Access.
You have to hunt and peck. Anyway, this stock was down as much as 22%, biggest drop since March. And the earnings were all around bad. It was a miss on adjusted EPS and comp sales, the latter being down 2.5% versus analysts estimating a gain of about 0.6%. The CEO, Doug Ho, did say, "We believe that we're on solid footing as we enter the summer months and are pleased to reaffirm our guidance for 2024, but that was not enough to lift the stock again, down as much as 22%, down about 20% at the close. And lastly, one more retailer, Bath and Body Works, saw its biggest drop since April 2020 after another earnings miss. Net sales were down 2%, and it sees net sales down 2% to flat in the second quarter. Analysts saying that this is going to likely lead to a worsening in sales growth and earnings.
All right, well, we still have earnings, believe it or not, here. CrowdStrike crossing the wire. So too is HP Enterprise here. Their 2Q numbers, this is the fiscal quarter here. Revenue coming in, looks like a big beat, $7.2 million. The street was looking for $6.8. Adjusted EPS beat as well, 42 cents versus what the street was looking for at about 39 cents a share here. The company's guidance for the fiscal third quarter, it sees net revenue at $7.4 to $7.8 billion. The low end of that range is right around the average of analyst estimates. EPS, their guidance for the third quarter, 43 cents to 48 cents. The street on average was looking for 46 cents a share. And the company guys saying that they still see their full year free cash flow at least $1.9 billion. The street looking for roughly about $2 billion.
Okay, so shares of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise up about 8%. We're seeing a different move, the complete opposite, coming from CrowdStrike. The company did report first quarter revenue that beat estimates, but shares down 7.4% right now. For fiscal year revenue coming in between $3.98 billion to $4.01 billion. That's above estimates. Second quarter revenue coming in, or estimate coming in at $958.3 million to $961.2 million. Estimates were for $954.6 million. Again, first quarter revenue beating estimates, but the company is down by about 6% in the after hours.
Yeah, I'm looking at CrowdStrike. Part of it is because people were expecting the company to have a beat and raise quarter. And the big question here is its annual recurring revenue and how that plays out. Going back to Hewlett-Packard Enterprise for a moment here, I just looked at the company statement from Antonio Neri, the president and CEO. He has two paragraphs, and he mentions the words or the acronym AI 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times.
That's it?
Yeah, that's quite a bit. But the headline here for them is that AI systems revenue more than doubled from the prior quarter. And, obviously this is where they see the growth coming from.
Well, this is curious, too, because, we talk a lot here about how some of the companies that are supposed to be benefiting from AI haven't necessarily shown that in earnings. We saw that, of course, with Dell. We saw that with some of the software companies last week here. So at least in this one particular earnings report out of HP, I guess you could maybe take some encouragement here, at least if you believe this is coming from AI, that at least there's a benefit flowing immediately to investors.
Yeah, they get about 100 basis points of a gain in the post-market for each time they mention AI, Romaine.
Okay. You should use that in your story, Emily. That's
It's my drafts.
I do want to just go back to CrowdStrike because it is lower right now. The company's president, CEO, and co-founder George Kurtz coming out and saying that the differentiated architecture has a wide competitive moat and uniquely enables CrowdStrike to solve the industry's biggest cybersecurity, IT, and data problems. Still, not a beat and raise, though, as Scarlett mentioned, investors were expecting. Guys, that is going to do it for our cross-platform coverage. We call it Beyond the Bell here on Bloomberg TV, Bloomberg Radio, Bloomberg Originals, and pretty much everywhere you can get us, including YouTube as well. We'll be back, though, tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll see you then.